Hey, it's Sam from Sugar Spun and today I'll be showing you how to make zucchini cookies. Okay, once again, we are taking some of your fresh garden zucchini and we are making a delicious, decadent baked good out of it. Today we are making zucchini cookies. They're chocolate chip oatmeal cookies. They're chewy, they're amazing. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to talk to you about is how to treat your zucchini, how to handle it before we get going. You need grated zucchini for this recipe, but there are a couple particulars about that. You don't need to skin it before you begin, but my preferred method for grating zucchini is to take my food processor, and I'll use the grate blade for this step. I'll cut my zucchini so it will fit in the food processor and I will grate the zucchini. However, I find that just using the grater blade doesn't get me as fine of a shred as I like. I like my zucchini to blend into the dessert pretty well. I don't want to bite into a piece of zucchini. So I then switch out my blade for the basic blade, and then I will very briefly pulse the zucchini. This will just be like a second. With a zucchini, you don't want pieces that are too large, but you also don't want to end up with a pulp. So this is what yours should look like. And you don't have to use a food processor, you could use a hand grater instead. I just wanted to make sure I showed you how I do it. Now, zucchini contains a lot of water. Now, too much moisture or water is bad news for cookies. It'll make them cakey, it can make them dry, it can detract from the flavor that we're aiming for. So we want to remove some of this water from the zucchini before we proceed. It's a really easy process. We're going to blot it. Grab yourself a couple of paper towels, and we're just going to press the paper towels into the zucchini. And we are absorbing that water. Try not to lose any of your zucchini in the process. Now, I'm not sure if I mentioned how much zucchini you need for this recipe, but you need 1 cup of shredded zucchini. If you have a zucchini about this size, that should cover you. All right, so I did 1 set of paper towels. I'm going to do 1 more for good measure. It's not about getting every single solitary drop of water out of the zucchini. It's just about removing the bulk of it. I'm satisfied with how this looks, but I also don't need the zucchini just yet. So I'm going to set this aside for when we do need it a little bit later on. And I'm going to grab a mixing bowl to make our cookie dough. So to the mixing bowl, we're going to start with 1 cup of softened unsalted butter. Got a little butter sticking back there. We do not waste butter around here, so I'm just gonna scrape that in. Thought it was more clean, but don't want to waste any of it. You will also need 1 cup of firmly packed dark brown sugar. I do prefer dark brown sugar with this recipe. It has more molasses in it. It just gives you a greater depth of flavor. So that's my preference, but you could use light brown sugar if that's all you have on hand. We'll also add a 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. Today's recipe could definitely be made in your stand mixer if you have one, but today I'm just going to be using my electric hand mixer instead. We'll go ahead and cream these ingredients together until everything is nicely combined and we have a nice creamy and well combined mixture. Okay, the next thing that we need for today's recipe is 2 large eggs. Ideally, these should be room temperature. I always like to crack them into a separate dish, just in case we get any shell in there, or in case you get a bad egg. I don't know if you've ever had a bad egg, like cracked open a rotten egg. It's been years since I have, but it's an experience you will never forget, and it's an experience you never want to experience. We'll add these. We will add 1½ teaspoons of vanilla extract, which is going to give this dough such a lovely flavor. And we will stir everything together until these ingredients are well combined. All right, we'll quickly scrape the sides and bottom of the bowl, just make sure everything's nicely combined. And we will grab a separate mixing bowl for our dry ingredients. We start with 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. We're going to add a teaspoon of baking soda. This recipe just uses baking soda, no baking powder. We're also going to add 3/4 teaspoon of salt. We're just using table salt. And this is an optional ingredient, but I love to add a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Cinnamon really pairs very nicely with zucchini. Now we'll just whisk these ingredients together. And we'll gradually add them back to our wet mixture. I'll usually do this in 2 parts. And you could use your mixer for this step. I'm just doing it by hand because it's very easy to mix. Now, once everything is mostly combined, I'll grab our zucchini that we blotted earlier, and we'll add all of this into the bowl. And we are going to fold this in until the zucchini is completely distributed. All right, next we will add our oats. Oats really work well with this cookie. They give them a nice hearty texture. It pairs really well with the zucchini. You'll need 3 cups of old-fashioned rolled oats. Suddenly, I'm beginning to regret my mixing bowl choice, but we're gonna make it work. Now, what really makes these cookies good is the chocolate. You are going to need 2 cups of chocolate chips for this recipe. Semi-sweet or milk work fine, whatever you prefer. I'm using semi-sweet today. Now, I call for 2 cups, but I only add about 1 3/4 cup into the dough, and then I'm going to reserve that last about 1/4 cup for topping the cookies. All right, now let's see if I can mix everything together without making a huge mess. All right, once your cookie dough is completely mixed together, now we get to do the most annoying part of this process, and that is wait. We have to wait for this cookie dough to chill. It's going to need to sit in the fridge for about 30 minutes, though you could chill it longer if you prefer. I know it's a pain, but this is going to help keep the cookies from spreading all over your baking sheet, and it's also going to help the flavor develop a little bit, which is nice, makes it all worth it. While the dough is chilling, you can get your oven preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, after 30 minutes, we can start portioning and baking our cookie dough. Let's get this uncovered. I will scoop the cookie dough by rounded 1½ tablespoons. And I don't roll them, I just go ahead and drop them right on the baking sheet. But because I can't help but be a little bit of a cookie perfectionist, if there are any stray bits of cookie dough kind of peeking out the sides, I will just tuck those under briefly. Optional, but it makes the cookies look more uniform. We'll take these over to our 350 degree Fahrenheit preheated oven. We're going to need to bake for about 12 minutes. When the cookies are finished baking, you should notice that they're a nice lightish golden brown color around the edges. Now don't forget, we saved those chocolate chips from earlier. Once the cookies come out of the oven, like within a minute or 2 of them coming out of the oven, I like to take these chocolate chips and just gently nestle them on top of the cookies. It just adds a nice extra touch. Again, you could just fold these into the dough. This is just what I like to do. But I can be a little extra with my cookies, so I get it if it's not for you. We'll let these cookies cool on the baking sheet before we dig in. And there you have it, another way to use up your fresh garden zucchini. I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and if you try it, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I always love hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Okay, this is warm, but I'm gonna eat it anyway. This is amazing. So good. And today we'll be making Hey, it's Sam from Sugar Spun, and today we'll be making, this is the easiest part and I can't get that one right. I got my name right at least. Oh, I'm doing it. Let me go, Nick. Stop. Okay.